We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, Ideal heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh, yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but Ojukwu stood strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is time of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh, yeah. People of Biafra. See light shining on the world. Oh, yeah.
What's that, Martin? We're not fighting each other. We know where we're going. We're going to get Biafra. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. I need them to understand this. We've crossed the Rubicon, the point of no return. There is nothing anybody can do. If I'm alive, if I'm dead, if I'm wherever I may be, Biafra will come. If I'm dead, it's even better because it will come far more quicker. I can assure you. If Biafra is fighting for you, no one will touch your property. If you're fighting alone, you're bound to lose it. So Biafra is the best. We will become the 16th member country of ECOWAS. If Nigeria doesn't release those properties, then we'll take them to court and we'll get them back. Even twice the value. The Jews had investments all over the world. Most of the priceless artifacts and paintings belonged to many families in Germany. It was stolen by the Nazi Party. Do you know that? Eventually they got everything back with compensation on top of it. That's what we're going to do. If you touch our investments, we'll come back for you. And we'll know where we can get it from. So there is nothing for anyone to worry about. It's only if I'm not stopping you from being a Nigerian, if you are born on the streets of Lagos and you want to be a Lagosian and your name is Adamma, oh well and good. There's no problem.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever, we pray. He said, one thing is obvious that I want to remind you this very evening is that we are indestructible. And we are not going to stop until we get what we are looking for. What we're asking for is simply a referendum to the democracy, the freedom, the liberation that Biafra portends, not just for the trapped and subdued indigenous populations in the damnable contraption called Nigeria, but the whole of Africa as well. Because right now we are in a state of war. We are in a state of war. It is the express wish of the Fulani Caliphate to kill our people. Their plan during the war was to kill every male, every adult, male and female, up to the age of 10, and then groom them to become Janjaweed slaves. That was what happened. They tried that experiment with a few people. America was one of them. Go and ask. So you do not understand your history, you have no idea where you're coming from. That is why some of you do not know where you're coming to. That is why fools like Omani are confused. That is why they do not understand what we are confronting, what we are facing. I want everyone to understand something very, 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 very carefully. To pay attention to what I have to say. You were against IPOB, your army, your police. You people are the ones inviting the army to come and kill your own people. Our land is the way it is today because of Hope Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma thought that we are in the era of 2017, 2018, 2019. Bring the Fulani army to come, kill one or two people, and everything will be quiet. No, not anymore. They are going to die in our land. Some of you idiots, some of the people, some of you, should I say, natural born saboteurs and traitors. Some of you fools that can never see what the enemy is doing to you. It's only when there is a retaliation that you start to react and to complain. I want to remind each and every one of you that Nigeria has been killing us since 1945. Since 1945. And your peaceful agitation never got you anywhere. Begging and pleading never got you anywhere. They killed in 1945, killed in 1953, killed in 1950. In fact, every year since 1945, they've been killing you. They slap you on one side, you don't get that. When I was at the cut off the head of a Kalaka, nobody said anything or did anything about it. That is why none of you is among the Security Council in the zoo. You don't even understand. You don't even reason very well. You think that by saying yes and yes and yes and everything that Fulani says, that they will love you. You are a fool. Therefore, you are an idiot. You are a fool. You are a complete idiot. You cost on your 419 should have used your contact to be scamming white people. That is your job. Or that was your job, and maybe it still is. Before the flag, because what they did was to go and pick up vagabonds in our land to make them governors. Those are some corrupt Ojukwu, some Kanu, Hope, and yourself. When you people come out in public to speak, when our land was our land, can you people come outside to speak? Because in our land, once you are a criminal, you will not be allowed to speak in public. Once you are a thief, you can never be allowed to speak in the gathering of the elders. It's impossible. You cannot do it. But of course, we are living strange time. We are living in the time of the Fulani Janjaweed. That was, if not that people rose up and said no, Nnamdi would have been the governor of Imo State today. Another criminal, another murderer, another killer. These are the type of vengeance that the Fulanis are bringing to come and lead us. David, you're telling me you don't understand what happened to your people. You don't understand that we lost 5 million people. Look at all the commissioners of police saying, oh, don't come outside. No, you can go. Dishonor the dead. Don't remember your heroes. Let me remind you what they did to you, because some of you do not know. As they were running from the aircraft, as the massacre was going on, there were Igbo people amongst the custom officers, and they dropped their chalk and they fled, only to be shot in the main terminal by other soldiers. I hope, Dave, you're listening to me very carefully. I am not the person to remind you to honor the dead. Because with great position comes great responsibility. I don't want to deliberate the death of Abiola because he did very well for his people. The Yoruba political leaders, they fought and agitated until June 12 became a public holiday. Is that not true? One man, one Yoruba man. And we lost over 5 million people. Do you see why you are not leaders? Why you're not cut out to lead? Have you not seen Netanyahu stand before the whole world during the commemoration of Holocaust that happened in Europe? Every blessed year. Have you not seen how Britannic Majesty, the Queen of England, Elizabeth II, stand at the cenotaph, the 11th of November, every blessed year, to remember those that fought and died for their country? Do you also know, Dave, in your stupidity, you don't even begin to acknowledge that had all these men that perished in the 20s, had they not died in the 20s, look at what is happening in Plateau, look at what is happening in Taraba, look at what is happening in what's it called, in Benue. Look at what is happening in Niger State. The same thing, look at what is happening in Yoruba land. The same thing could be happening to us today. Let me tell you something that you don't know. Because these men fought and died for us. They gave us hope. That was the job of Ojukwu. Ojukwu was the Moses of our time. Our time is that God used Ojukwu to say to us, there is a promised land somewhere called Biafra. Only when the people are worthy will I lead you to that land. Israelites were wandering all over the wilderness for 40 years. We have been wandering now for over 50 years because of our sinful nature, because of our wickedness against our own people. This same army that killed our people and slaughtered us is the same army that you criminals are inviting into our land to kill some people that their fathers were killed by the same vagabonds that they're going to kill. Do you see why we despise why you people are lower than vermin? One, you don't even know your responsibilities. You have no idea what it means to be a leader. You don't have a clue what it means to be a leader of a people. You people should have been the ones directing us and saying, these are the days we honor. These are the things we are going to do. Did you take the lead yourself until IOB came? Until Chukwuemeka Odimegwu determined that we should come. Instead of you to say, this is a very laudable initiative. How do we get the government of Nigeria to acknowledge that 8th of May as the day that a grave injustice was done to a particular race? You idiots, due to what I will call political expediency, you are more or less interested in safeguarding your own private political position. Shame on all of you. Some of you say, oh, the Yoruba agitators, they're not to insult their leaders. Their leaders fought for the death of one man, one single man, to be recognized and immortalized in the calendar of should I say Nigerian politics. You lost over 5 million people out of cowardice and fear. You can't even rise up to defend or argue for the right of these people to be remembered. Do you see why you're not leaders and can never lead? All of you are rent boys. Most people are doing you are just in office selling for an interest. And you claim your governance. No matter if I were to be a governor, or had I been a governor in our land, there is no amount of provocation that would make me to go to Abuja to beg for Fulani soldiers to come into our land to kill our people. I will never do it. Never.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this very Sunday evening program. I welcome everyone that has connected to this platform, wherever you are connecting from. Either you are joining us on YouTube, or you're joining us on TikTok, or you're joining on Facebook. Wherever you are joining this program, I welcome you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you a very happy Sunday. Please kindly like and share the program on your platform. Share to family and friends. Share to everyone that is close to you. This is our evening section on Sunday. Sunday, we don't have morning program. We have our evening program. So we are going to do it as we always do. Not going to take much of your time. And we are going to touch some critical issues on this very evening program. Remember, in this very platform, we don't come here to instigate violence. We do not come to this program to preach hate. We don't come here to attack people or to attack individuals. Our purpose of not being here is not to attack any race or religion. What we do in this platform is to present Biafra to the world as the only remedy to the failed state Nigeria. That is our responsibility, presenting Biafra to the world, and we will continue to do that for as long as we have the opportunity to do so. So this evening we are going to do the same. Being Sunday, many of us have gone to our various churches to pray. And I ask you again, did you pray for your nation, Biafra, if you are a Biafran? If you are a Biafran and you went to church today, what was your prayer point? Did you remember to pray for Biafra? Did you remember to pray for our supreme leader, Nnamdi Kanu? Did you remember to pray for our Prime Minister, Ekpa? If you did not, you are not doing yourself any good. Some of us have gone and come back. Some of us are still in the church. Some of us are preparing to go. So wherever you are, whichever area you fall, don't forget to pray for our nation, Biafra. Pray for our leader, Nnamdi Kanu, and pray for our Prime Minister, Ekpa. Don't forget that. It is our responsibility to keep them in the limelight and give them a voice each time we come online. That is why I always play the voice of our Supreme Leader, Nnamdi Kanu, the prayers and some powerful instruction that he left for us. Just like the one I played now, he was talking about this month that we're in is a very critical month, May. 30th May. Remembrance of 30th May was instituted by our Supreme Leader, Nnamdi Kanu. He was the one that put it in place. The governors and those who call themselves traditional rulers, those who call themselves elite and whatever, it has never come to their mind to remember their heroes that were fallen. Even when the British denied the genocide, the world denied the genocide. What about you? What about you? Who the genocide was committed against? Why are you not doing anything about it? Our Supreme Leader Nnamdi Kanu was able to put 30th May for remembrance. As 30th May is approaching, we are going to prepare. Wherever you are, prepare. Remember, it is a lockdown. It is a lockdown in Biafra land. 30th May is a lockdown. We are going to observe it. There is no family in the old southeastern region that did not lose a person. There is no family in the old southeastern region that did not lose a soul. So this is an opportunity for us to remember them These are opportunities for us to pray for them. These are opportunities for us to show the world that really a great injustice was done to a people. There is no other way we can do it. Before the world can recognize that genocide, we ourselves have to recognize it. That is why 30th May is very important. So prepare yourself. A lot of preparation is going on. It is a total lockdown. Prepare yourself. There is no going out. They're not doing anything. If you want anything you know you're going to use on the 30th May, go and buy it, purchase it, and keep it around you. It is going to be a total lockdown. Not just a sit at home. It is a lockdown. You stay in your house with your family and pray for the souls of our heroes that were lost. It is a very important time. That is why we are using this time to remember and go back to memory lane. And you see that the Zanjawi, the Caliphate and the British are very scared of this remembrance we are remembering. They are very scared of this 30th May. That is where, any time the 30th May is coming, they are going to fix a program to counter that event, to change people's mind and to change the narrative. Just like you saw, Gowon did not see any time, only another time to launch his book. He decided to launch his lie. Gowon launched his lie on May, just a few days ago. Last week, Gowon launched his lie, the greatest lie of all time, denying the obvious truth. Why did he choose to do that on May? Did you ask yourself, why did Gowon choose to launch that lie on May? This is to tell you that they are still fighting the war against Biafra. That war is still on. It has not ended. It's only some of us that are ignorant. Some of us don't pay attention to events. Some of us, we ignore these issues, but they are still there. Very visible. Anytime you turn to your left, right, front, back, it is still there. And that is why we will not stop talking. We will never stop talking. Everybody needs to add their voice. Continue to speak about these issues. Constructive information is what they're going to be delivering in your platforms. It is not about bickering. It is not about propaganda and blackmail. It is not about saga. It's not about attacking your brother and your sister, calling your people's name. No. Facing the real enemy that wants to keep us in captivity. Gowon is one of them. Whenever you see them come with their lies, the British lie that they concocted, the British narrative that they brought, whenever you see them bring those perspectives that is intended to destroy the original history that we have always known, we must confront it immediately. We must confront it immediately. So wherever you are, it is your responsibility. It is my responsibility to continue to give our voice. Give a voice to Biafra. Give a voice to our leaders. Make sure they do not succeed in changing the narrative, because that is what they try to do. The British do not want to take responsibility of the genocide committed in Biafra land. And we will continue to hold them accountable until the right thing is done. That is why any platform you find yourself, please don't use your platform for saga. Don't use your platform to attack your brother or your sister. Focus on the real enemy. You and I know them. They are not hiding. The real enemies are no longer hiding. Even those who are pretending to be with us in this agitation, but they are no more. They were hiding on it, but now they are not hiding. They know that their days are numbered. They know that their days are numbered. That's why they are fighting in all corners. The British is fighting on the other end, traveling to the United States to make all kind of lobby. The Caliphate is doing theirs, lobbying in all parts of angles. Nigeria is lobbying in all parts of angles. The saboteurs have been lobbying. Nigerian government is paying people who are even Biafrans to attack and destroy the image of our leaders. That is something we will not allow. That is why we will not. This is not the time to get distracted. You must not, no matter what, don't get distracted at this time. It is not a time to get distracted. It is a time to pay attention to every single details and respond effectively. Respond accurately. Respond with facts. This is the time for us to do so. So this evening, as we come online, we are going to dig deep. It's a kind of a Sunday sermon. You know, I always deliver my Sunday sermon here. I go to church every Sunday. After my church service, I come back here to worship with my fellow Biafrans, to worship my brothers and sisters, and deliver my sermon here. And on today's sermon, we are going to dig deep, countering what Gowon did, the role Gowon played to what is happening today in Nigeria. The lies and propaganda of Gowon that he is telling after the truth have already been delivered by our eternal leader, Nnamdi Ojukwu, more especially on Aburi. Gowon have chosen to come to destroy the fact that we have already known. And of course, those who are going to buy into his nonsense are those who are not paying attention to events. For those of us who are paying attention to events, who have been following, the informations are all there. Our eternal leader did a great job living for. He left for us transcripts, original transcripts, and videos of what transpired in Aburi. But today, Gowon shamelessly comes out to try to change narrative, and he's going to end in shame. So, my fellow Biafrans that are joining me this evening, I welcome every one of you, wherever you are joining us from. People of Biafra, lovers of truth, defenders of justice, and all those joining us from around the world on this program. I welcome every one of you. Tonight, on our Sunday sermon, is going to be a very important and emotional discussion because we are talking about history, betrayal, misinformation, and the consequence of political decisions that continue to affect millions of people even today. Our topic this evening is the deliberate misinformation from Gowon on the Nigerian Civil War. Our eternal leader, Nnamdi Ojukwu, and the Aburi Accord, and how Gowon decisions contributed to the insecurity in Nigeria today. If you want to trace the source of insecurity in Nigeria today, Gowon has to be indicted in it. That is the truth. My people, history is very important. A nation that refuses to tell the truth about its past can never build a peaceful future. That is the absolute truth, whether you take it or you leave it. Any nation on the planet Earth that refuses to tell the truth about its past can never, ever build a peaceful future. Tonight is not about hatred, as I always say. It is not about violence. Tonight is not about attacking ordinary people. No. This discussion is about historical reflection, political lessons, truth, accountability, and understanding how past decisions shaped present reality. I want you to pay close attention. Give me your little time so that we can do this together. And before we continue, I want everyone watching tonight to do me a favor. Do this 14 immediately. Like this broadcast. Share this broadcast. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. And drop your location and your comment on the comment section respectfully, so that the world will know that Biafrans across the world and lovers of freedom across the world are paying attention and making their contribution. It's just us fucking. Let the world know that people are listening. Let the world know that history cannot be buried forever. No matter how they try. They cannot bury history forever. One of the biggest tragedy in Nigerian history is the many people grew up hearing only one side of the story concerning Nigerian Civil War. That is the biggest tragedy. In Nigeria, there are many lies that have been told. So many things that people believe in Nigeria are lies. Very false narrative, created intentionally to destroy history. That is the biggest tragedy in Nigeria today. More especially on the issue concerning the civil war. For decades, official narratives were repeated without allowing deep public examination of what truly happened before the war began. Every time when they come, they will tell you about the Biafran people causing a war, Ojukwu causing a war, just like Gowon did recently, blaming our eternal leader for the civil war, including trying to destroy his reputation with lies. This is the kind of thing you see in Nigeria. Official narratives were repeated without allowing deep public examination of what truly happened before the war began. Many people were told the war was caused by rebellion. The war was caused by ambition, just like Gowon always portrays every time he comes online. Even in the recent one, he was still accusing our eternal leader of being too ambitious. It was caused by rebellion. The war was caused by disunity. But very few people were encouraged to ask deeper questions. Most times, just like you saw Gowon a few days when he launched his book, there was no critical question that was asked him. In a civilized world, journalists will be there to ask him critical questions, more especially on some issues that he mentioned, which our eternal leader, Nnamdi Odimegwu Ojukwu, have addressed in person while he was alive. And Gowon never responded until now. Very few people were encouraged to ask deeper questions. What happened before the war? What really happened? War detention become uncontrollable. Why? Why did detention become uncontrollable at that time? That they could not be able to handle it until it became a full-blown war. What agreements were made? What promises were broken? Could the war have been avoided? These are critical questions that any sensible person should be asking each time you hear anybody talk about the civil war. And most importantly, the people who are non-Biafrans, and people across the world, and some of us Biafrans who are not paying attention, these are critical questions that you must ask. With these questions, you can be able to ascertain what to believe and what the fact is. What happened before the war? Why did tension become uncontrollable? What agreements were made? What promises were broken? Could the war have been avoided? These are difficult questions calling for answers. And when difficult questions are ignored, future generations inherit confusion. Wonderful people that are watching, wherever you're watching from. To understand the Nigerian civil war properly, we must first understand the political atmosphere after independence. For you to understand the Nigerian civil war, what prompted the civil war, what brought about the civil war, you must first of all understand the political atmosphere after the independence. The political atmosphere created by the British. You must understand it. Nigeria was created by British colonial authorities through the forced amalgamation of many different ethnic nationalities with different culture, religion, politics structure, and vision of governance. After independence, regional rivalry intensified. Immediately after independence, regional rivalry intensified. Starting from the northern part of Nigeria, immediately after that was when, what did they call him? Ahmadu Bello made a broadcast, made an announcement that the northern region must protect Nigeria as an estate of their father, Ottoman Danfodio. That Nigeria must be protected as an estate of Ottoman Danfodio. Just few weeks after the independence, Ahmadu Bello made this declaration and he sank into the north. Distrust grew among political elites. Ethnic tension increased. Military coups followed. Counter coups followed. And innocent civilians became victims of fear, revenge, and political instability. Following the counter coup of 1966, many Easterners living in different parts of Nigeria became target of violence attack. There was pogrom, which our eternal leader has spoken about on video, that Biafrans were literally mowed down in all parts of the Zoological Republic, in everywhere. Simply made because you are from the old southeastern region, you are marked for that, nothing else. That was the situation. For the fact that you are an Igbo person, or not just an Igbo person, you are from the old southeastern region, you are marked for extermination. Thousands were reportedly killed. Families were displaced. Businesses were destroyed. Fear spread across eastern Nigeria. And many people in the east began to be confident in the safety of remaining within the Nigerian Union as it was then structured. When the deaths begin to happen, the attack continued on different angles. Many people in the eastern began to lose confidence in the safety of remaining within the Nigerian Union as it was then. This is one aspect many people really discuss honestly. The cause of the civil war. People don't go into this. You know, today, when they talk about our eternal leader, they paint him to be the aggressor, while he is not. When they talk about our supreme leader, Nnamdi Kanu, they will project him as a troublemaker, while he is not. When they speak about Mazi Simon Ekpa, they talk about him as a violent man, while he is not. This critical question is the question that people are not asking. Why? How did we get to where we are? This is one aspect many people rarely discuss honestly. When citizens lose confidence in their safety, trust in government begins to collapse. At the time, Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu emerged as the military governor of the Eastern region. Ojukwu insists that the safety and dignity of Easterners must be protected. Ojukwu insisted when there was so much chaos, there was no way out. Ojukwu had no other option. There was no other option left. Ojukwu insisted that the safety and dignity of Easterners must be protected. He argued that agreement must be respected and that regional autonomy was necessary to prevent domination and future violence. Our eternal leader advocated for regional autonomy. The same thing they are calling restructuring today. The same thing they are preaching today, shouting right, left, and center. This is what our eternal day saw many years ago. Many years ago. And nobody. Gowon truncated it, destroyed it, and brought death that took many lives. The only thing our eternal day wanted, that agreements must be respected, and that regional autonomy was necessary to prevent domination and future violence. Then came one of the most important political meetings in Africa history. One of the most important political meetings in Africa ever held, the Aburi meeting, called Aburi Accord. The reason for the Aburi Accord was to make sure that there is regional autonomy and that every region is equally respected and protected. That was the reason for going to Aburi. Going to Aburi was not to go and divide Nigeria. It was not even going to Nigeria to go and create Biafra. No. The purpose of going to Aburi was to establish a situation where there will be a regional autonomy to prevent this idea of domination, and to avoid future violence. The violence you are seeing today, this violence you see that the Fulanis are bringing today, that was why our eternal leader took Gowon to Aburi to go and discuss peace. And Gowon destroyed the agreement after reaching agreement. Today, his own people are suffering the highest. It is even shameful that even at the point when his people are dying every day, that is the time he remembers to write a lie, to push a lie in support of the continuous atrocity in Nigeria. God will not forgive him. God will not forgive Gowon. He will have a special place in hell. And just like our eternal leader told him, and our prime minister also said, we should pray he will be alive to see Biafra come before his own very eye, before he dies. The shock of the coming of Biafra is what is going to kill him. The shock of the announcement of the recognition of Biafra will kill Gowon. Watch out and see. Because it will surely come. Aburi Accord. The meeting took place in Aburi, Ghana, in January 1967. Military leaders from different regions gathered to discuss the crisis threatening Nigeria's existence. At Aburi discussion, centered on decentralization, regional control, military structure, and coexistence. There was never a time division was mentioned. But today, in the lie that Gowon is painting a picture that Ojukwu went and changed something and talked about division. The Ojukwu talked about division. When Ojukwu never mentioned anything about it, even our eternal leader spoke on video record that he never mentioned anything that had to do with division. The sole aim of that Aburi discussion was centered on decentralization, the same topic they are holding today. Regional control, the same topic that they are holding today. Military structure and coexistence, the same topic. Today they are talking about state police. They are talking about state police and talking about the same thing. They are crying and talking. That was what our eternal leader took them Aburi from. You see, we are 1,000 miles ahead of these people. What we see lying down, if Nigerians climb on top of a mountain, they will never see it. Just as we are telling them now that this is not the time for restructuring anymore. We are now in self-determination. And they don't want to listen. They are waiting until it becomes too late, until it becomes too bloody. They are waiting for more genocide to be committed before they now understand. Now is the time to have a peaceful separation and everybody go their separate way through a referendum. they wouldn't hear, they wouldn't listen. The same way they didn't listen to our eternal leader when he was telling them about restructuring. Many historians and political analysts believe the meeting offered a possible peaceful solution to prevent war. That was why Aburi was held. Even historians confirm it. Political analysts confirm it. That meeting offered a possible peaceful solution to prevent war. But what did Gowon do? Gowon walked away with every single agreement that he penned his signature into. Every single thing Gowon agreed and penned his signature, he walked away from it. And today, he will tell you that our eternal leader, Dim Odimegwu Ojukwu, will change certain things and put certain things. Ask Gowon, Gowon, can you give us the original transcript of Aburi Accord? Our eternal leader has delivered his own. We have seen the transcript. He has confirmed it with his mouth and his videos. Can you tell us, Gowon, what were the things you said that Ojukwu added or removed? What did he add and what did he remove? The atmosphere at Aburi repeatedly showed signs of compromise. Leaders discussed confederation, like arrangement where region would have greater autonomy. Even in that discussion of confederation, our eternal leader never mentioned the confederation. It was always coming from their mouth. It was always a suggestion coming from Gowon and his team. Confederation was discussed. Arrangement where region would have greater autonomy on the own side. Our eternal leader, Dim Odimegwu Ojukwu, believed the agreement reached at Aburi would help guarantee security for Easterners and reduce fear of domination. Because at that point, the pogrom has happened and continued to happen. There was no other choice. Biafrans are hunted down any part of Nigeria, including the southwest. So the only thing our eternal leader was looking for on how to make sure that our people are secure in our own region. It is not about creation of a country or separation then, no. Regional governments, that is what he was advocating for. Gowon, that is alive today, participated fully in those discussions and he penned his signature. He signed. Before we end up, still going to play the video you hear directly from the horse's mouth. But after the meeting, disagreement emerged concerning interpretation, implementation of the accord. When they get to Nigeria, Gowon now claimed that he doesn't understand what was agreed. Gowon now begin to misinterpret what I've agreed. They begin to tell him a different something you have agreed. You came with your experts, not only you. You agreed and signed. All of a sudden, on reaching home, as always, everything have a different meaning. Just like Nigeria, when you talk about restructuring, they will begin to give you different kinds of interpretation of restructuring. Even when a layman knows what restructuring is, when you tell a layman in Nigeria about restructuring, he knows what it is. Regional government. As simple as that. But in Nigeria, they will give restructuring different kinds of interpretations for their evil plan to make sure they change the narrative and divert people's attention from the real thing. After the meeting in Aburi, disagreement emerged concerning the interpretation, implementation of the accord. By Gowon, it was only Gowon that was disagreeing and misinterpreting by himself. It has nothing to do with our eternal leader. Because the eternal leader was there, he discussed and he penned his signature. And that was why he said, in Aburi we stand. And this is where controversy began. Gowon never even mentioned Aburi. Gowon refused to implement what was agreed in Aburi. He refused to implement Aburi. Gowon refused to implement what was agreed. Something he went and signed, which was agreed in Ghana. Political authorities later changed position, introduced new interpretation. They changed position and introduced new interpretation to the Aburi Accord and weakened the understanding reached during the meeting. That was how they manipulated the Aburi Accord. Nigeria, with their British counterparts, they went and began to misinterpret. They watered it down. They introduced new interpretation, different from what was agreed in Aburi. The same thing they are still doing today. When you talk about restructuring, they will give you different kinds of meaning. Some will tell you go back to your village, go back to your city and restructure. Some will say it's just policing. So even when they know truly what it means, they introduce new interpretation to Aburi Accord, and thereby weakening the understanding reached during the meeting. And Gowon continued to claim ignorance. Up to today, Gowon is still denying, saying that certain aspects of the agreement were difficult to implement. You can imagine something you agreed. Gowon argued that certain aspects of agreement were difficult to implement within the reality of governing Nigeria at that time. You can imagine. This was the excuse Gowon was given. That there are aspects of the agreement that were difficult to implement within the realities of governing Nigeria at that time. After reaching an agreement, you come to Nigeria and you begin to reinterpret what I agreed, misinterpret it intentionally. And this disagreement became one of the major turning points that pushed the country towards war. It was the refusal of Gowon to implement Aburi Accord according to the discussion that was made in Ghana, in presence of the president of Ghana. There was no misinterpretation. It was not just between Ojukwu and Gowon. Each and of them came with their team. They came with their team of experts. So there is no misunderstanding why these signatures were penned down. They understood word to word. Our eternal leader explained everything they agreed on, word to word. It was properly understood. But when Gowon got to Nigeria, the British and the Caliphates marched and brought a different interpretation to what was agreed. And our eternal leader said, the Aburi will stand. And today, the war you are seeing in Nigeria today has everything to do with that decision. This disagreement become one of the major turning points that push the country towards war that Nigeria is still fighting up to today. Many people imagine a situation where trust already collapsed completely. How can you trust a man that you went and signed an agreement with and he come back and renege from all the agreements? Imagine a country filled with fear. Imagine communities already traumatized by violence. What do you want us to do? Now imagine political agreement breaking down at such a dangerous moment. A very dangerous moment. And Gowon did what he did. Gowon has to be held responsible for the 5 million Biafrans that died in that war. Gowon should be held responsible for all the children, innocent children that were starved to death. Gowon should be rotten in hell. He should be in Hague. ICC is supposed to be holding him. He's supposed to be in ICC. The result is exactly what happened. Suspicion increased, tension escalates, communication failed, and eventually war erupted. All thanks to the madness of Gowon. The Nigerian Civil War became one of the deadliest conflicts in African history. One of the deadliest conflicts in African history. They can't run away from it. The British continue to hide to make sure it is not recognized as genocide, but it is genocide. Millions of children mainly suffered. Families lost loved ones. Children died from starvation. Communities were destroyed completely. Entire generation carried emotional scar that remain visible today. All thanks to Gowon. War is painful. War leaves wounds that can survive for generations. And that is why honest history matters. Not what Gowon is doing today. Gowon, the least Gowon should offer to this generation is truth, honesty. That is the only thing that is expected from Gowon. Nothing else. We don't need any prayer from Gowon. We don't need anything from him. Truth, speak the truth. Honest history matters. Honest history matters. Another issue that must be discussed and must not be swept under the carpet is misinformation, power of misinformation. Because that played a major role, power of misinformation, and still playing a major role today. Gowon is still misinforming people till today, this moment as we are here. Gowon is still championing that misinformation. During conflict, government often control narratives. Propaganda becomes common. Information becomes weaponized. Every side tries to justify itself. But when history becomes sided, for decades, future generations struggle to separate facts from political stereotyping. That is what we are seeing today. The story of the Biafran War and the problem between the Biafrans and Nigeria have been so politicized that people, the youths today, find it difficult to get the facts. Except you are rooted in truth. You dig deep and you see the truth within you. If not, future generations struggle to separate facts from political storytelling. What we have today is political storytelling, like Gowon is telling. What Gowon is telling today is political storytelling. In that his book, filled with lies, political storytelling, to paint our eternal leader what he is not, and to take credit for himself. Today, as we speak, the role of our eternal leader, Nnamdi Odimegwu Ojukwu, is deliberately misrepresented over the years, and Gowon continue to misrepresent our eternal leader, Nnamdi Odimegwu Ojukwu, even when there are facts showing that Ojukwu did not cause the war. He was the mediator, he was the peacemaker, he was the one trying it. He was the one that took them to Aburi to reach that agreement to avoid war, to make sure there is no war. But today, Gowon continued to misrepresent our eternal leader, Nnamdi Odimegwu Ojukwu, through his storytelling. Misinformation. Misinformation. They continue to push false information from right, left, and center. They continue to push information that has no background. They argue that his concern about security, autonomy, and protection of Eastern were ignored and simplified unfairly. That was exactly the fact that they were hiding. There were several concerns about security, autonomy, protection of Easterners. These were genuine concerns that our eternal leader, Dim Odimegwu Ojukwu, was presenting. But they were ignored. They were ignored. In most cases, simplified and unfairly. Nobody listened. They didn't pay attention to him. He went extra mile to take them to Aburi. Yet, they didn't pay attention. Gowon was in charge of Nigeria with the British. Gowon government controlled the dominant national narrative after the war and influenced how history was taught and remembered. The removal of history from Nigeria is the handwork of Gowon and the British. They controlled how things were done. They control the dominant narrative. Most of these fake stories you are hearing today that spoke about the Igbo coup, painting Igbos as the aggressor, making other regions see Igbos as troublemakers. We are pushed. It's a narrative that was pushed by the government of Gowon with the help of the British. These are serious things that happen. Serious claims that continue to generate debate among historians and political observers today. Whether one agrees or disagrees, one fact remains undeniable. Nigeria has never fully healed from the division exposed during the Civil War, and will never heal because nobody is able to tell the truth. Whether you agree or not, Nigeria has never fully healed and will never heal from the division exposed to during the Civil War. It doesn't matter how people pretend about it. It doesn't matter what people say about it. The zoo will never heal. Even today, ethnic distrust still exists. Regional suspicion still exists. Political imbalance, debate still exists. Question of fairness still exists hugely today. Even as we speak, it's still there. It's still there. And insecurity continues to challenge the country. It has even gotten worse. The insecurity I see today has even gotten worse than it was. And this was what the Biafrans saw early. The young soldiers led by Chukwuemeka Odimegwu, this Islamic terrorism is what he saw. The Fulani terrorism, he saw it and he didn't want it to happen. It was part of the reason why they carried out the 1966 coup, which was a revolution, not coup actually. That was why they embarked on that revolution that they call a coup. And later they named it Igbo coup. It was a revolution to stop this insecurity you are seeing today. And I tell you, every time there is a major move to save Nigeria, it's always by an Igbo man. At every given point in time, whenever there is a major move to save Nigeria, a major move, a major sincere and genuine move to save Nigeria, it is always an Igbo man, but it ends off in disaster. It ends off. That is why when I see Peter Obi, it doesn't matter how good his heart is, Peter Obi is going to drag us into hell that we cannot be able to come out from. Chukwuemeka Odimegwu made a move to conduct a revolution to save Nigeria. They called it Igbo coup. And they brought pogrom. Thousands of Igbo officers, young men, pregnant women were murdered in pogrom. Aguiyi came in. Aguiyi came in to save Nigeria, not to create Biafra, to save Nigeria. He paid with his own life. He paid with his own life, and many other Igbo officers lost their life because of that. Our eternal leader, Dim Odimegwu Ojukwu, took Nigeria to Aburi to save Nigeria. Aburi meeting was to save Nigeria. It was not to create Biafra. It was never to create Biafra. It was to save Nigeria. That move was led by Ojukwu. What happened? It brought death to us. More than 5 million Biafrans lost their life. Even under Nnamdi Kanu gave them the opportunity to go and bring their restructuring. What did they bring? Python dance. Thousands of Biafrans lost their life. If you give Peter Obi chance today to go and rescue Nigeria, I bet you millions of Biafrans are going to pay with their life. And at the end of the day, Nigeria will never be rescued. As Peter Obi is, you saw what happened in the last election. Do you know the properties that were lost? Do you know how much the Igbos lost? Nobody was made a case for them till today. Do you know how many lives were lost? Do you know the properties that were lost? Do you know how many people lost their life because of Peter Obi election? And nobody paid a compensation or said sorry. No apology whatsoever. And he is coming again. Whether he succeeds or not in this move he's making, do you know how many people are going to lose their life? Even if he succeeds, millions are going to lose their life. And yet, Nigeria will never, ever, ever be good. This is a simple thing. We don't have anything in common. Countries are created along value system. Let people that have the same value system be in their country. We don't have any problem with a caliphate. You want to have a caliphate, have it with those who have that value system. You want to have your monarchical system, have it in your own section. You want to have a republican system, have it in your own section. That is all we are asking for. And that is the ultimate solution to the situation of Nigeria. Anything short of that, you are just putting a deodorant in the problem. And that time bomb will definitely explode. Anything short of peaceful disintegration of Nigeria, you're only postponing the doomsday, which will definitely come, whether you like it or not. The doomsday will certainly come. The insecurity in Nigeria will not stop. Now, the important question becomes, how do decisions made during the era connect to the insecurity in Nigeria today? That decision of Gowon, that decision that Gowon made, how does it connect to what is happening today? If you cannot connect it, it means you will still have a shallow brain. When political agreement collapses, trust weakens. When communities feel marginalized for generations, resentment grows. When history is suppressed instead of openly discussed, frustration increased. When analysts believe that unresolved historical grievances contribute to modern instability in Nigeria. What you are seeing today in the zoological republic of Nigeria is unresolved historical grievance. Unresolved historical grievance. And this grievance were put in place, created by the British. That is why you are seeing the move of the Fulani to take over Nigeria by fire, by force. The terrorist attack that is happening right, left, and center, that we never stop. The only thing that will stop the terrorist attack is total disintegration of Nigeria, decolonization of Nigeria. Anything short of that is a waste of time. Today, Nigeria faces insecurity from multiple directions. It has become worse than ever. Today, there is banditry, there is terrorism, there is kidnapping, there are different kinds of separatist agitations, there are communal conflicts, there are religious extremists, there are political distrust. Nigeria is a failed state. Which one are you going to count and leave one? Every indices that makes up a failed state is present in Nigeria. The only thing you need to do is to pay attention. Go and check the indices that makes up a failed state. And it will only get worse, except Nigeria is decolonized. Except Nigeria is peacefully disintegrated people, and disintegration is not war, it is not hatred, it is a peaceful disintegration that so people can be able to know their borders. We can still marry together, we can still do business together, we can still coexist, we can still travel where we want to travel to. It doesn't stop us. But let people know their boundaries. The more you continue to have the open border in Nigeria, the terrorists will run over, they will overrun the entire country. They have taken the northern part of Nigeria. The middle belt have lost years. They are in the southwest. And they are penetrating into the southeast. And what the government does is that the government weakens the forces in all these areas and empower the Janjaweed. You do not want other people to have their security outfits. But the Fulanis are arming themselves every single day, collecting ransom, buying more arms for themselves, and they are moving. Nobody is taking away their arms. But you will often see Nigerian military going into villages in the southeast, to go and take arms that belong to the citizens. Including the vigilante group are not allowed to use ammunition. But the Fulanis parade the entire country, including flowing their car with AK-47. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? Problems are partly rooted in failure in building genuine national unity after the Civil War. There has never been any genuine national unity. I played a script that I got from, what do they call it? The Okuta panel. I played the Okuta panel yesterday. With all the discussion, even when you listen the kind of question that was asked in the Okuta panel and the way the question is being asked, and the sentiment that's already the question, you know that Nigeria will never heal. Nigeria will never ever heal. The only thing you can do is to allow people to go their separate ways. The suspicion will always be there. The hatred will always be there. The bickering will always be there. There's no, it can never be healed. Never. Not in this life. Instead of deep reconciliation, many believe silence becomes the policy today. Instead of reconciliation, silence is the policy. They don't want you to speak about what transpired. They don't want us to remember our heroes. When we talk about heroes, remember 30th May, they don't want us to remember our heroes. They don't even want us to talk about our heroes. When you speak about your hero, they become angry. And people were told, move on. How can we move on? Forget the past. How can you forget the past? They say everything is settled. Nothing is settled. We cannot move on. We can't forget the past. And nothing is settled. Unresolved pain does not disappear simply because people are ordered to forget it. Unresolved pain does not disappear simply because people are ordered to forget it. No, it doesn't disappear. It will not just go away like that. Real reconciliation requires the truth. Real unity requires justice. Real peace requires trust. And this ingredient you can never find. You can never find in Nigeria. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. And trust cannot grow where history is feared. There's no way you can build trust in a place where they discuss history. They don't want you to even know history at all. They don't want to. They are writing history every day. How can you have a trust? How can you build trust in such a society? My people, one major lesson from Aburi is this: political dialogue is always better than violence. Gowon had a choice not to allow the war to happen, but he chose war. Gowon had a choice to stop the civil war from happening, but he chose war. And today he's still shamelessly parading himself, calling himself names, seeing himself as a hero. Even when his own people today are dying, the same thing we are trying to stop. His own people today are the most. Look at Plateau State. Plateau State is gone. Some villages are wiped out completely in Plateau State. And have you seen Gowon come out to speak? Of course, he will not speak. Because the evil he committed. He won't speak. He will not speak. When leaders fail to honor dialogue sincerely, future instability becomes more likely. Another lesson is this: no nation can survive permanently through fear and suppression alone. Never. There is no nation on the planet that you just create fear, you suppress people, create fear, and you think with that you can survive. It doesn't happen. It's not possible. Citizens must feel respected. Communities must feel protected. Different groups must feel included. Without inclusion, suspicion will always grow. Without fairness, agitation will continue. Without justice, instability will grow. Tonight, we are not here to promote hatred against any tribe or religion. No. We are saying the simple truth. That truth they don't want to speak. That's language they are hiding. We are simply bringing the truth out. Ordinary Nigerians from every ethnic group have suffered from bad leadership, insecurity, corruption, and political failures. It's not only Biafra, just that we are the one that are spoken. We say, speak. We can't keep silent. Hausa people suffer. Igbo people suffer. Yoruba people suffer. Minority groups suffer. The masses are usually the biggest victim of elite political failures. Just like the evil that Gowon has done and continue to do. It is the poor masses that are suffering. You see in the launching of his lie, the day he was launching as a lie, one of his co-liars gave him 3 billion. You can imagine what 3 billion can do to the life of a man. A single man who they rewarded for killing the first general in Africa, Aguiyi, the man that murdered Aguiyi, gave Gowon 3 billion for launching a lie. T.Y. Danjuma gave Gowon 3 billion for launching a lie. Book that was filled with lies. It is the poor masses that are suffering. That is why history should teach wisdom and not hatred. We must learn from mistakes of the past instead of repeating them. And to the younger generation listening tonight, please study history deeply. Don't buy into people's lies and propaganda. Do not depend only on emotional social media argument. No. Don't depend on emotional social media argument. Make investigation. Get information for you. Read books. Listen to different perspectives. Study speeches. Study documents. Study interviews. Study historical records. Critical thinking is very important at this point in time, more especially for us Biafrans. You don't act based on emotion alone. No. Emotional reaction cannot solve our problem. Some of us are too emotional to a fault. You become so emotional that sometimes you use cursing, insult, and all that, and you end up saying nothing. We need to study history. Because when citizens understand history properly, manipulation becomes more difficult. That is why it's important for everybody to study history. My people, the story of Ojukwu and Aburi remain one of the most debated chapters in Nigerian political history. And they are hiding it. They don't want anybody to speak about it. They don't want anybody to comment on it. They don't. The story of Ojukwu and Aburi remain one of the most debated chapters in Nigerian political history. Chukwuemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu, the Aburi Accord. To some people, Ojukwu was defending his people from insecurity and betrayal. And that was what Ojukwu was defending his people from insecurity and betrayal. As to our haters and some others, they say his political reality made compromise difficult. But regardless of opinion, the collapse of trust before the war remained one of the greatest tragedies of that era. And our eternal leader spoke about it. Because after the Aburi Accord, our eternal leader believed, he said he believed that they have agreed on everything. He strongly believed that they have reached a conclusive end. Let me play that video. That what our eternal leader said. Let's hear from our eternal leader what he said in his own word. In his own word. Let's hear what our eternal leader said in his own word. It is very important so that you hear it. Hear in his own word. Because the more they try to change history, they make us look idiotic and stupid as if we don't know what we are doing. But there are facts and evidence on every single thing we are saying. I want us to listen to our eternal leader speak by himself what he had to say about the agreement in Aburi. Just pay attention, listen carefully so that you hear from the horse's mouth. And that was the wonderful job he did, left us with enough information before Chukwuemeka Odimegwu came. So all this nonsense that Gowon is saying today, it doesn't hold water. Let us listen to our eternal leader again.
But at the end of it, I don't want to go because these things are all, the tapes are available, the records are there. In fact, only about 2 weeks ago, I saw it set on the records again. The transcripts are available. But we talked about the Nigerian situation. And certainly, at the end, everybody says, oh, you tell them this, you did that. The fact was that our case was so clear that I actually believe that the end of Aburi, that the problem was not Gowon, but probably some ambassadors in Lagos who were pressing on something else. Because we understood each other, we agreed on every single point. The drafting was, in fact, my chief secretary with 2 other chief secretaries from the other side. They said, no, and drafted.
Did you hear that? That the drafting of the Aburi Accord was made by our eternal leader, chief secretary, and 2 other chief secretaries from Gowon's side. So it's not as if it is just both of them. For Gowon to come today to say that he doesn't understand what was written or what was agreed in Aburi, to begin to misinterpret it, is mischievous. And the most painful thing that up to today, Gowon is still standing on that lie to the extent of releasing a book in a very critical moment when we are remembering our heroes. It is so sad, and I don't think God will forgive him.
Agreed, we looked at it, we agreed. General Gowon read over the whole report again to us, and then us if we wanted to amend anything, no. At the end of all that, the position was so good that actually Ankara drove Jack, Gowon, and myself to the airport. Jack was sitting on his left, I was sitting on his right. He was in the middle. And in the course of that journey, at the point, General Ankara shook his head and said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. If only we can go on like this, everything will be all right." I was the one, as I do now from time to time, I go for the dramatic. Suddenly I picked up the one's hand, put it on Ankara's lap, brought my other hand and placed it on it. And I said, "General Sermon, hold us together, I want to say something." So General Ankara put his hand on top of the two hands. And I said, "General, I want to assure you that I am totally satisfied with everything we said. I will even go further and say to you something I did not say at the conference. And that is that once we have implemented everything we have said, I would ask you for one favor and one favor only. And that would be to be the one to propose Jack Gowon as a head of state of Nigeria."
It was a 2-day conference of peers and old mates, but its aftermath produced even further controversy.
When we came back, Ojukwu did not go to make the statement he made first, virtually giving the impression that we've agreed for confederation to move apart, etc., which was really not exactly that. If I had had the opportunity to make my broadcast in the first, because that was the agreement, not for him to make the broadcast first, then if I had committed myself to what he said, then there would have been any problem. But he went and said certain things that certainly...
What are the things he changed?
So
you see?
Practically everything he did.
He accused our eternal leader of changes or something. What were those things he changed? He cannot measure. Even in one of the interviews, he was asked, what were those items? Can you bring the transcript? Our eternal leader showed the transcript. Can you show us the transcript? What were those? What were those things he changed? He cannot mention. When you see somebody stammering, he's lying. Obviously lying.
At Aburi, yes, we agree on area commands for the armed forces. At Aburi, we
very straight.
That the police force will be decentralized.
Mm-hmm.
We agreed on this. Yes. We agreed. Even to show that we didn't separate at Aburi, we also agreed on a certain revenue formula.
You see, they even agreed on revenue sharing formula to show that the Aburi Accord was not about separation. It was simply regional government. It was not about separation. But this man, Gowon, is always painted as if it's separation. They agreed formula, revenue formula. They agreed the revenue formula. What else do you want? What else will any reasonable person expect? You agreed in this the state police they are talking about, decentralizing the forces, decentralizing the police, having a revenue formula. He mentioned it. But go on and say he added something. What are the things that he said eternally added? Can you show it to us? You accuse him of separation. You accuse him of division. You accuse him of adding things there. But you never mention what it is. But how can somebody be talking about separation when you already have a revenue formula? Having a revenue formula only shows that you have what you agree is a regional government, just as it was stated in the Aburi Accord.
That's what I looked at Aburi. Aburi again, because I always end up, this was odd today, but I always end up saying I must have been naive. Because I believed actually that would be the end. I'll confess to you. When I got back to Igbo, oh yes, I had a party. Believing that probably the danger was over. That's what we thought. Until they then began to deny everything.
They denied everything.
It was the denial of Nigeria that made me publish
Absolutely.
the tapes of Aburi, because we had insisted that each one should have a set of tapes.
He complained about the publishing, that it was because our eternal leader published it. That was why he could not be able to announce it. But our leader is now saying that because they denied everything and they were misinterpreting it and quoting a different thing, that was why he released the transcript for people to see what they agreed. But he turned around and said it was because he released the transcript, that was why he did not announce it. You see how this grew? Bunch of liars.
Everybody talked about confederation. Go and look at the transcript. There is no telling that the word confederation came from my lips.
Oh.
In protest, Aburi changed the title of head of state from Supreme Military Commander to Commander-in-Chief, gave the regions control over internal affairs, and concurrence of each region was not required for any decision affecting the whole country.
That is the information. You saw it, you just heard from our eternal leader directly. That is it. And there's another video I'm going to play. This one also is somebody who was also explaining things that has to do with that Aburi discussion. Let's listen to this and hear what the explanation that this guy has. Because this is a month of remembrance. We are going to be visiting.
So at the Aburi Accord, which was prepared, he said, let's reduce tension. Let's allow each region operate fairly semi-autonomously. Let's minimize unnecessary contacts that will bring pain and suspicion. They will still remain a country, could have everything, our defense together, and Gowon agreed. Because we saw that we were going to save the nation from going to war, save the nation from crippling, and restore some peace. He agreed.
And what happened?
They signed off. That's Aburi and Aburi. So Ojukwu came back and we all hailed and said, thank God, we're staving off war and staving off this. A few days after that, Gowon now relinquished. He had come, his permanent secretary, permanent those they call super palm sex, and they confessed, people like Asiodu, people like the former Kensu and the former Oba of Guinea, who were super palm sex then. They said they reviewed what was agreed. They found that Gowon had given too much.
Imagine.
So Chukwu, he had given too much. Can you imagine?
Imagine.
Giving too much. What's the meaning of that?
By agreeing that everybody should be peace and control, that everybody
They still not accept.
Don't you think Western powers were behind the reason why the Aburi Accord failed?
I wouldn't see what would be the real benefit of Western power. I wouldn't see much benefit.
The benefit there is that they said that was the period that the oil was discovered, the oil boom started. So don't you think the Western powers want to have that control of that oil? That was the reason why they had to influence on what he did.
I wouldn't think so, because Nigeria was not the only place having oil. Oil was in the Middle East. If Nigeria was the only place, I can say that's the only source they have.
So I don't think categorically we are trying to say that Western powers were not the one that influenced Gowon.
No, I don't think it's Western power. I don't think the influence of the overwhelming. I don't think so. Why? I believe that it was the same Nigerian conspiracy, the same selfishness, the same greediness. Of these farm sex, they told us that they had interview that they felt they had given too much. So, it was to present their own ego. So what they wanted to achieve by saying, they wanted to say, look, it's like, they say, how can a part be dictating to the whole? It was just ego. How can it be one man? What he says is what we're going to do. Just ruling over one part of a nation. We have the 3/4 of the nation. What can he do? Because 3/4 of what you come to a negotiation. You come with your own 10 points. I come with my own 10 points. We agree on my own 9 or 7. I'll agree on 2 or 3 of your own. Oh, I see. So Chukwu had a predominant, the logic of Ojukwu, his persuasive power, convinced Gowon that his own position was superior. Without undue influence. But when he now went back, the people around him, and they were north and west, that were doing the super. Yes, now because it was a war, it was a quarrel between the west, the Nigerian east, and the rest of. As I told you, part of the reasons that this coup was carried out was to make Awolowo the prime minister. Part of the coup, beyond fighting corruption and the poor leadership of Tafawa Balewa, they wanted to bring Awolowo, who was imprisoned by Tafawa Balewa, to become the prime minister. That was part of their reasons. So eventually, and you know where they sent Awolowo? He was sent to Calabar prison through the work of Zik, because Zik was still the president. So the nation was sent. If he had been sent to North, they probably would have killed him. So it was in Calabar, which was part of the eastern Nigeria, that became an ally for him. So he accepted. So when this issue of should we accept Aburi or not, this was same Awolowo, who before this time he went to the east, met Ekpa, and then he spoke there. It was in the Nigerian outlook. If the east goes, the west will go, the west will follow. But if the east was allowed to secede, they will also go. To all of the ethos, even the east had to stand their ground. The Aburi Accord fell apart. The Nigerian now said, okay, the way it is going, what next do we do?
You see, this is it. This one is another account. So we continue to bring different accounts of what transpired. We will continue. This is a year, a month of remembrance. And when you see these informations coming, when you look at Gowon today, what will you tell him? When you look at Gowon, what will you tell him? If Gowon happened to visit you, what will you tell him? An old man at that age, who is supposed to be preparing to meet the Lord by making his way straight, speaking the truth. But today he is still lying. He's still lying, trying to leave the next generation with lies and more confusion. Trying to leave the next generation with lies and more confusion. But how long are we going to continue to relax? And that has made us to lose numerous number of people. I want us to listen to this. The civil war issue is something that we will continue to play. This is what Gowon led us into. This is what Gowon led us into. The decision of Gowon brought us to this calamity. Even the insecurity you are seeing today.
Britain facilitated the massacre of up to 3 million people in Nigeria in the 1960s, and there are people alive today who remember its impact.
How can you forget a massacre? How can you be alive during the time of a bloody genocide, survive it and forget? No.
American professor Uju Anya was born in Nigeria, and her family survived a war that was sponsored by the British Empire.
Queen Elizabeth II, before she died, never once openly acknowledged what her government did on her behalf, in her name, to prop up her crown and to pat her coffers and her royal treasury, and never once said sorry.
Dr. Anya was born in 1976 in the aftermath of this war.
So what I saw was kind of the bombed out buildings and the reconstruction projects, and of course the conversations around the dinner table. My mom was pregnant during this war and running from village to village to escape the massacre.
Like so many conflicts, the roots of this war can be traced back to colonial rule. In 1914, the British Empire forcibly merged 400 different ethnic groups and tribes to create its largest colony at the time, Nigeria. Take a look at this news report during the Queen's royal tour in the 1950s.
These and many others marched slowly past the royal pavilion in salute to the Queen. Never before had such a magnificently comprehensive tribute been witnessed in Nigeria.
Even after Nigeria gained independence in 1960, there were still people who felt they didn't want to be a part of this newly formed country. This desire to create the breakaway state of Biafra would set off a civil war that lasted nearly 3 years.
Fight on, brave boys, fight on! Heroes of our fatherland! Pursue the enemy, harass him, destroy the invader.
In response, the Nigerian government imposed a blockade on Biafra, which cut off all food supplies to the area. In living rooms across the world, people watched news clips of children with bloated bellies and sunken eyes.
3 million civilians were massacred, and they were done so using guns and bombs and supplies provided by the British government, at which Queen Elizabeth II was head.
You see, Britain had a stake in this. It backed the Nigerian government because it wanted to protect the oil investments that happened to be in Biafra's territory. This brutal legacy is another reason why the British monarchy and the Queen in particular have become symbols for many Black and brown people around the world of colonial oppression.
These are not just statues, these are not just figureheads. These are direct beneficiaries of centuries of abuse, human enslavement, exploitation, extraction of natural resources, political destruction and devastation, and till today, continued meddling in African affairs. Listen to us, read and learn, and join us when we ask the British government to recognize what they did to aid and support the Biafrans.
Of course, they were fully involved, but they never take responsibility. But we will never forget. That is where we continue to go back to history and to remind them of the evil they carried out against us. We will never forget. No matter what they do, we will never ever forget what the British did in our land. We will never forget. In this month of remembrance, we will continue to remember. The British used Gowon to create evil.
For so many years, and the reward the house had to give my forefather was to kill him. He was the first man killed in the May massacre. After being chased for some few yards, they shot at him, and then when they got him, they had to slice him into two. Like, you know, when you want to slice your bread into two. A human being, they slice into two. Can you imagine such a thing? Biafra is going to be my destination. You know, despite the support of Britain, Russia, Egypt, and some other friends of Nigeria, we all will surely come out as a nation because we're fighting a just cause. Even a little child on the street will tell you it is wrong. We shall never go back to Nigeria again. God's grace will surely emerge as a nation.
Definitely. We still stand with your prayer, my sister.
As far
You
as
see?
this war continues, we'll fight to the last man.
You see? You can see this is the bravery of our parents when they were there. Look at a young lady declaring for the fight to secure his life and save the life of his people. That was what we faced during the Civil War. She just told her the story of how her own father was sliced into two in her presence. Her father was sliced into two in the north. You can imagine the trauma. This is what many of us faced. And today they want us to forget. They don't want to talk about it. Nnamdi Kanu came up to speak about our freedom, and they brought different kinds of lie, propaganda, and manipulations against him. They begin to tell so many lies against Nnamdi Kanu. They blackmailed Nnamdi. They called him a terrorist, called him different kinds of things. And today, evidence are coming in. What Hope Uzodinma is in the Imo State, blackmailing the Biafra agitators. I just saw a video where Harrison was speaking about what is happening in Imo State, how they blackmail IPOB of everything that happened, they say is IPOB. Meanwhile, there are evidence showing that these people who are kidnapping are not IPOB, they are Fulanis. And let us listen to Harrison. Let's listen to the video of Harrison that he released on the situation, what is happening. Because this information needs to be out there. We need to help and share it so that every other person will get the information. The blackmail is so much. They blackmail Master Samuel about it.
One issue. First, I'm from Delta State. Secondly, I'm from Imo State. Imo State. I have said it several times here that Imo State. And I came to Corona. After that junction, that's the Assemblies of God. That's my maternal home. So I will now for. If you tell me to go into Imo State now, I will go in and I will not ask for direction. Because my secondary school was in Imo State. I attended a boys secondary school. JS2, JS3, SS1. If I return back to Delta and continue from Santa Maria College. So I'm Mafo. So I know some of you want to paint all this whole happening in the East that they are IPOB that is doing it. That's what gives you I don't know whether it gives you one kind of energy. You want to criticize that these kidnappings have been carried out by IPOB. No. This one I witnessed it. I have voice recording. I had to bring in outside people, Fulani people, to hear the conversation. And they said, no, this one not be our language. This one is Fulani language. This one will tell you, say, yes, our own language. The victim said in the video, I have video record, I have video evidence that they are Fulani people.
My brother. The dress, one of them, we are one of the because of the dress. Yes. One thing I find out there is that daytime before they will be communicating with their people. When it is 6, 7 o'clock, those their people will come with the food and some AK-47s. They are male flags. Yes. And today, they shared this money together. This was the money paid yesterday. What they released on so they share it together. That's their money. What of them will come back and look at all this information? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. The person mentioned that.
One of them said making the process. I can't pay 500,000.
Oh, so that one went through.
Yes, 2 of them went through. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they always transfer their gifts at night.
Exactly around what time?
The transfer was something like after 9.
They are not Igbo as people want to present it. So we are surrounded. Yesterday I was in Imo. Last night I was in Imo State. A 16-year-old girl was kidnapped from Ojukwu by these same people. The father and the girl was going home. Okada man, they went to buy what they would eat. Going back to their house. Two of them. The father said that these people are not our people. The father had a fight with them. They cut him knife on his head. And then kidnapped the little girl. 16-year-old girl. She's currently inside the forest with the kidnappers. I don't want to go into argument with people with your this crime is being committed by IPOB or whatsoever. What does it give you to lie to the public?
That is what they want to hear.
The military were there.
It makes them happy. It makes them happy.
The local security, all of them were there. I'm going to drop voice note too. Also, now, this is the voice note. Listen to this voice note and tell me what they are speaking. Is it Fulani, Hausa, or Igbo?
You have said it. This is another strong evidence to show when they continue to blackmail us like Hope Uzodinma is doing in Imo State, Lola Neka is doing her own. All those blackmail, it is all false. Look at this one. Harrison brought out an evidence. People who were kidnapped have confessed and said people that kidnapped them, they know them. They captured the voice. These are Fulanis. And we have all known this before. But that was how they blackmailed Mazi Simon Ekpa. Oh, Mazi Simon Ekpa is creating insecurity. Mazi Simon Ekpa is kidnapped. Oh, Liberation Army is doing this. Liberation Army is doing that. And today, the kidnappers now have a free hand to do whatever they want. When you were doing it, you think you were doing it to Mazi Simon Ekpa, you were doing it to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You are going to pay the price for every lie you have told against innocent people. You will pay the price. You will pay the price. I just pray that the United States will take action as soon as possible. If not, it is going to be worse. Let us hear this one again. You see the invasion of the Fulanis. The Fulanis are taking over. Everywhere you can think about, they are taking over. Let's play another video. We're going to play another video for you to hear and see what the Fulanis are doing. This one is the account. Somebody have gone to video the account and they are giving them automotive tobacco. Look at how they go to the forest and create a village for themselves. This one is in Uboha. They went and create a village for themselves in the bush. Nobody gave them this land on their own. Living happily with their family in the forest.
Where those people they stay, when they kidnap our people, when they spoil our product, this is the camp. So we have been telling them to leave this camp, they refuse to leave. They are using this camp to kidnap our people, to spoil the products we have been using to feed our children, to feed our family. So we tell them today to leave for our community. Tell them to leave this camp. If they refuse to leave, not till Friday, all what I have to say.
You can imagine, they created a village for themselves in another man's land. They create their own village, living there free of. It's something you cannot do in their own side. This is what Gowon created. All these things, who is to be blamed? Is Gowon. It's Gowon. If Aburi Accord had been implemented, you will not see this. You won't see it. Now, let us round up the program with the message of Arnold. Let's listen to this message of Arnold again, because Arnold captured every single thing in the zoo. The message of Arnold worth sharing. Everybody should continue to share this message of Arnold. Share it to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. It's very important. More especially for the international
terrorists from around the world are right now flooding into Nigeria to launch Muhammad's prophesied final global jihad. I'm Mike Arnold. I've made 16 trips to Nigeria, to the front lines of the Christian genocide. I built schools for displaced children there, and I wrote Epicenter, the best-selling book about what's happening. Here's what you must know, and what nobody is telling you. When you hear it, you will not be able to look at the situation in Nigeria or global security the same way again. 14 centuries ago, Muhammad prophesied that a descendant of his bloodline, called the Mahdi, would rise at the end of days, ride west under a black banner, defeat the Christian armies in a bloody jihad, and bring the whole earth under one global caliphate. For that to happen, the doctrine says a purified Islamic platform must be ready, a launch pad. The Islamic world believes they have found it in Nigeria. In 1804, a direct blood descendant of Muhammad named Usman Dan Fodio launched a jihad in what is now northern Nigeria. He founded the Sokoto Caliphate explicitly as the launch pad for the coming of the Mahdi. He killed as many as 250,000 and displaced millions to establish the largest pre-colonial empire in Africa. Bigger population than Pharaoh's Egypt, using the exact same tactics we see today: massacre, beheading, destruction, rape, displacement, and slavery, all while shouting Allahu Akbar. Usman Dan Fodio wrote more than 100 books. In them, he positioned himself as the Mujahideen, the renewer of his Islamic century, whose mission was to prepare the way for the coming of the Mahdi. He believed the Mahdi would appear in the caliphate he founded, while his descendants sat on the throne. In other words, he saw himself as effectively the Islamic John the Baptist, making the way for their jihad messiah. At its peak, Dan Fodio's Sokoto Caliphate held as many as 2.5 million slaves. The British never conquered the caliphate. They cut a deal. Indirect rule, they called it, and let the caliphate stay in power as their enforcers. The Mahdi's launch pad survived. Muhammad's bloodline kept the throne. The British forcibly chained the vibrant, largely Christian, English-speaking South to this dark, feudal caliphate. Before they granted independence in 1960, the British federalized the vast oil reserves of the South, gave full control of the new federal government to the north, and cut a sweetheart deal to keep looting the nation's black gold. In 1967, a portion of the Southeast, known as Biafra, at the time the fastest growing economic region on earth, sought independence from the caliphate's genocidal grip. In response, the northern warlords enforced a total blockade, declaring starvation a legitimate tool of war. They even shot down Red Cross aid planes. With Britain's full backing, in 30 months, they starved to death some 3 million Biafrans, mainly children. The survivors were subdued, their wealth confiscated, a generation buried in mass graves, the history erased. Welcome to Nigeria, a so-called secular democracy, where today's constitution was written by an Islamic dictator and mentions Sharia law and other Islamic terms 165 times. Christianity, 0. Sitting on that caliphate throne today is Sultan Saad Abubakar III, the 20th hereditary heir of Dan Fodio, and the spiritual head of West Africa's 108 million Muslims. One bloodline, Muhammad to Dan Fodio to today's Sultan. 1,400 years of prophecy, waiting. Today, Islamic fundamentalists around the world believe the moment has come. The Islamic State has declared Africa their divinely empowered land. The majority of global ISIS propaganda now comes out of Nigeria. Foreign fighters from the Middle East, North Africa, the Sahel, even Europe, are streaming in as religious pilgrims, not immigrants. They believe this is where Allah has called them to die for the fulfillment of Muhammad's prophecy. Sheikh Zakzaki is founder of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, an Iran proxy with 3 million members across Nigeria. His organization has an armed wing, documented weapons caches, and a history of mass mobilization. In February 2026, speaking in Nigeria's capital of Abuja, he declared, quote, "We are not merely waiting for the reappearance of the Imam Mahdi so that we may follow him afterwards. We are his followers today. He is our global leader, and the affairs of the Ummah," that's the global Muslim community, "are already under his guidance." He also said, "Readiness before the reappearance is one of the central missions of the followers of the Imam Mahdi." Leading Islamic nations are actively helping build the Mahdi's launchpad in Nigeria today. Turkey just signed a major deal with President Bola Tinubu to train Nigerian troops using a group whose stated mission is to, quote, "pave the way for the long-awaited Mahdi by helping the Islamic world achieve military superpower status." Iran, whose entire regime exists to hasten the Mahdi, has helped build Zakzaki's massive Islamic movement in Nigeria. Saudi Arabia spent decades building the doctrinal pipeline that birthed Boko Haram, and Qatar is the banker. The movement's toll is staggering. Since the founding of the caliphate, the start of this jihad, as many as 6 million Nigerians dead, 10 million enslaved, 25 million displaced. Since 2009 alone, 125,000 Christians slaughtered, along with 60,000 peaceful Muslims who refused to join the jihad, according to Nigeria's human rights group, Intersociety. More than 20,000 churches destroyed. Today, 80% of all Christians killed worldwide for their faith are killed in Nigeria, most by jihadis from the same tribe, same caliphate, same prophecy, using the exact same tactics Dan Fodio used 222 years ago. Allahu Akbar. This is the longest running and longest active genocide on earth, a hidden Holocaust. Today in Nigeria, college girls are burned to death for praising Jesus on WhatsApp, and nobody is punished. Farmers are sentenced to death for defending themselves against terrorists. The Chinese are looting vast amounts of blood minerals and funding the jihad groups to clear the land, bribing the military and political leaders to look the other way. A prisoner of conscience named Nnamdi Kanu is serving a life sentence in Sokoto prison for truth spoken in England, illegally abducted from another country, and convicted under a law no longer on the books. Youth are executed in the street by federal police. Influencers who speak the truth are taken, tortured, and disappear. Thousands of men, women, and children are abducted, held in what can only be called concentration camps, many tortured and killed in sophisticated kidnapping schemes pioneered by Boko Haram. Nigeria's 50 million school children are today being forcibly indoctrinated by the government. The man in control of the nation's curriculum from preschool through college is the world's leading expert on the Islamization of knowledge, and he considers it an intellectual jihad. As many as 10 to 12 million peaceful and productive Nigerians have been forced from their ancestral lands, living and dying in the most horrible conditions imaginable, denied recognition and aid by the government. Without intervention, it is expected that as many as 50% will be radicalized in the next few years. That's 5 to 6 million more jihadis. At the same time, the government gives captured terrorists room, board, and free classes, then releases them back to the community, rehabilitated. Many are even given government jobs. Statistics show most are likely to go right back to killing. On May 16th, President Trump killed the world's #2 ISIS commander in a strike on his compound in Nigeria. Nigeria's government had given this terrorist cover officially by declaring him dead 2 years ago. But strikes alone will not stop what the jihadis believe is the fulfillment of a 1,400-year-old prophecy. The caliphate has a 222-year head start. hijacking the nation's inevitable rise, on track to become the third most populous nation on Earth by 2050, a top 5 oil producer with $1 trillion in mineral reserves, making more movies than Hollywood and dominating the streaming charts. They see Nigeria today as the greatest platform in history for the Mahdi to finally come and conquer the world. President Trump, you must act now. You have rightly called radical Islamic Jihad the greatest threat to our national security. Nigeria is the epicenter. You must know that working with the Nigerian government to end this genocide is like working with the Third Reich to end the Holocaust. You cannot stop this with sanctions. Jihadis are prepared to die for their cause. And China is more than happy to backfill any economic loss we impose on Tinubu's regime. Nigerian officials are today disarming and prosecuting defenders while arming the terrorists. They are rewarding captured terrorists while smothering millions of innocent displaced victims. They are violently suppressing truth speakers and spending millions to propagate lies in Washington. Top Tinubu administration officials have recently called the killers brothers and prodigal sons who deserve to be rehabilitated. The radicals have fully hijacked the school system with the philosophy of Boko Haram. As you have found in Iran, you cannot simply negotiate or partner with people who believe Allah has called them to fulfill a 1,400-year-old prophecy. And that is exactly what you are facing in Nigeria. But I believe you can flip Nigeria without a war. The people of Nigeria are incredible. They have unlimited potential. They rise to the top wherever they go in the world. Give them the chance to do that at home, and they will build an amazing nation, a real Wakanda, and America's greatest ally in Africa, a lighthouse of freedom in a dark part of the world. Just watch. President Tinubu is guilty of genocide today for his denial of recognition and aid to the displaced citizens. Indict him, arrest him. The Sokoto Caliphate must be investigated as a terrorist sponsor and dealt with accordingly. 2 centuries of history and overwhelming evidence demand it. Keep striking the terrorists, and you must know the Fulani militia are killing most of the Christians today, not ISIS. Hit them too, take them all out. Conduct a full census of the displaced, interview them. They are eyewitnesses to genocide, and help coordinate the international aid they desperately need. Finally, ensure a free and fair referendum for a new constitution written by and for the people. Allow them to determine their own boundaries and watch them rise. Islamic jihadists today are finally recognized as the greatest threat to global security. Today, the Sokoto Caliphate in Nigeria is the only throne in the world that meets the classical Sunni requirements for a legitimate caliphate. And it was built explicitly to be the platform for the prophesied Mahdi, the launchpad for the final jihad to conquer the world. This is the epicenter. If we do not fight this fight in Nigeria today, we will fight it here in our own backyard tomorrow.
That was an amazing speech by Arnold, and I can't say much. He has said it all, and I hope that those who are concerned, more especially the United States, will pay attention to what he's saying. I appreciate every one of you that have been with me on this very evening program, and I hope you can join me tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Monday. We are going to have our Monday sit-at-home memory program. We have a lot of informations that we are going to deliver tomorrow. Make sure you join us. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe, like, and share the program. We are going to be back again tomorrow morning. Join us in our morning program. It is going to be a bombshell. There are some important information that we're coming with tomorrow. So make sure you join us on the Monday sit-at-home memory tomorrow. It is very important. May Chukwuemeka Odimegwu and protect all of us. Thank you so much for being part of this program. And I will see you again tomorrow by the grace of Chukwuemeka. May Chukwuemeka protect our leaders, Nnamdi, Kanu, and Samadego. Thank you so much for being part of the program. See you next time. Stay blessed.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, ideal and heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see a nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh, yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't kind of even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops underground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Ojukwu was stronger than flood, but Ojukwu too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home.